Hey there everyone, welcome back or welcome to the channel if you're new here. Very recently, Blizzard has announced that they are returning to a group loot system in Vault of the Incarnates and Dragonflight, as well as the faded raids during pre-patch, so Castle Nathria, Sanctum of Domination, and Sepulchre of the first ones. It'll be the only method of loot distribution. There's no option to go back to personal loot, and there's no master looter. The Need and Greed, Disenchant, and Pass UI will return, with some caveats. You can only need on something if it's an item level upgrade, has a tertiary stat where the piece you currently have does not have a tertiary stat, or is an actual piece that you can equip. So you won't have plate people rolling need on Clothy to be able to trade it to them. This is a good thing, but there's also some potential pitfalls for this as well. This allows for people that don't really need an item to need on it anyways and then trade to a friend. You're gonna have to keep an eye on people in pugs particularly, but hopefully in guild situations your people are going to only need roll if they absolutely need it. Although I could see this potentially being a situation where somebody needs on an item, gets it, shouldn't have gotten it, and then just G quits and ninjas the item, similar to how it used to be. They're taking steps to prevent this, but it's still an option that could happen. There will be item level tiering coming into the new raid, which I think is a great feature that they're adding. There's going to be 3 item level tiers instead of 2, so every few bosses the item level will increase. As you can see here, 389 is the base level for the first 4 bosses, then it goes up to 395 in normal difficulty for the next couple bosses, and then the final bosses will be at the 398 level. In Heroic, this starts at 405 and goes up accordingly in the same manner that this is. This is a great new change and really adds in a flavor that makes the raid feel more rewarding to actually progress, because it didn't really feel good progressing through those mid-tier bosses when they were dropping the same loot, the same level of loot as the early bosses, and then you felt like you're progressing once you got to the final bosses, which were increased in the item level. So this is another great change. Something that they've discussed and they have removed is the trade restrictions, so anybody will be able to trade loot with no restrictions on it whatsoever. This is an awesome change, will really help cut down on the world first splits, and will not feel bad when you get an item that was an item level upgrade but terrible stats for you and you wanted to trade it, but you just couldn't because it was an item level upgrade. This will remove that from being a problem and really feels good. Blizzard has also announced that they're going to be changing the ways BOEs drop in the raid. We're no longer going to be getting BOEs from regular trash mobs. It's only the named lieutenant mobs which will be dropping the gear, but it will be better BOE quality gear. They want to make it essentially a 9th boss, and they're taking steps to make sure that the loot that drops is actually considered as good as boss loot, so it will be a 9th boss. You will have a set number of drops per full clear depending on the number of people you're running with. So the more people you run with, up to 30 in Heroic, you're guaranteeing more drops throughout the entire raid to compensate for more people being in there, which I think is a great change as well. Another thing Blizzard is trying is experimenting with a number of bosses dropping higher item level loot or very good loot that's 6 to 7 item levels higher than the boss's normal loot table. And it's not necessarily Titan Forging, it will be the same item every single time and have a slightly rarer drop rate to compensate for the fact that it is better. They're doing this to make it so that it feels rewarding still, killing bosses early on in the raid that are typically easy to master and quickly become trivial and not fun to have to clear through. This is something that gives you that rewarding feeling, working towards that rarer, higher item level drop from the boss. For example, the bosses Aranog and Diurna in the raid will have a pair of special rings that have a equip if you're wearing both of them. An Omni trinket from the Primal Council, which has strength, agility, and intel, and the more copies, the stronger it gets, similar to Kabbalah's Hymnal or Stone Legion Heraldry from Castle Nathria. There will also be a special bow from the final boss Razageth. This is another great change that I think will make the raid feel more rewarding on reclears. All in all, I think these are good changes to the looting system and the way that they're doing things. Removing the trade restrictions is great, but they could stick with personal loot with just the removed trade restrictions, and that would be good as well. I would personally like to see it kept how it is with these new changes, and then adding in a master looter option for guild groups and higher level content. People with pugs just don't want to deal with master looter, but I think world first raiders, organized guilds want master looter, and it would be a good thing to add it in. But only time will tell if Blizzard comes through with that or not, or keeps it in the system that they're currently experimenting with. Thank you so much for watching. Please, if you can, like, share, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I'm trying to grow the channel, and that's the best way to do it. And I'll see you on the next one.